All right, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the Landlord-Tenant Energy Partnership webinar. Before we get started, there's just a couple of housekeeping items. This webinar will be recorded for later viewing, and then also if you have any questions that you would like to raise during the webinar, please do so at the bottom right-hand corner where it says comments. We will be collecting them and then answering them at the end of the webinar. All right, so get started. Okay, so hi everybody. My name is Audie Banney. I'm Associate Director at Institute for Market Transformation. And I'm here with my colleague, Adam Sled, who's the Director of Market Engagement.
Good afternoon.
And I would also like to introduce Abby Jacoba, who is the Director of Public Policy and Best Practices from the International Council of Shopping Centers, as well as Erin Hyatt, who's a Senior Manager of Sustainability and Compliance for Retail Industry Leaders and Association. Abby?
Hi, Abby Jagoda here from International Council of Shopping Centers. I am very pleased to be working with Audie, Adam, and Erin on this really important partnership. We've been doing a lot of this work in the past. You may recognize me from Retail Green and our public policy program here at ICSC. And we've been working together with the tenant community for quite some time, and we're very excited to formalize our approach. And I'm looking forward to seeing many of you at our upcoming conference in November in Arizona.
And Erin?
Hi, everyone. This is Erin Hyatt with the Retail Industry Leaders Association, RILA. Just to echo Abby's sentiments about excitement about this group. If you know me, you know that we've been working on this for a while, but are so excited to be able to have IMT help coordinate and continue to move progress forward. We were very privileged to be able to launch this partnership at our sustainability conference just in September, so we're looking forward to jumping right into this with all of you.
Great, thanks, Erin. Okay, so the power of efficient tenants. There's many building energy efficiency programs out there, but are aimed at owners and whole buildings. And so unfortunately, these programs are not often designed to recognize the issues of leased real estate, and to date, tenant-focused programs have had only limited impact. And when we have tenants leasing over 30 billion of the 87 billion square feet of U.S. commercial market, they control the majority of energy consumption in leased properties, which is making the tenant demand the key to unlocking the massive investment, job creating, and emissions reduction potential of energy efficiencies in the sector, which accounts for 18 of the U.S. energy consumption, which is a lot. So for me, coming from a corporation, I saw firsthand that the benefits to implementing energy efficiency projects, there were a lot of benefits to it, but I also saw a lot of challenges when it came to presenting the return on investment for projects that had a long ROI, or finding the right partners to move some of those projects along. So IMT recognizes this opportunity and developed a new national program to reduce energy in the tenant space, starting with retail and leveraging partnerships with key industry organizations such as RILA and ICSC. The project will be the first program of its kind and scale. And I do want to note that we, as we start with retail, we definitely will also focus on office and warehouse spaces. So the permanent impact we hope to achieve with the program is to transform the market, drastically and permanently reduce energy consumption, overcome potential barriers to efficiency, and deploy and scale solutions through a coalition of corporate, government, and associate leaders with the end goal of reaching 20% energy reduction. So why buildings? Well, in the United States, our buildings use more energy than most countries, and Americans spend more than $400 billion to heat, cool spaces where they live and work. Improving the energy efficiency of buildings not only helps owners, occupants, cities, and utilities save money, it will also increase property value, create jobs, increase or reduce harmful pollution, and create healthier spaces. And the timing is absolutely right to go after this. There are many, many companies out there that are reporting to CDP, also trying to reduce operational efficiencies and are reacting to policies that are new in the market. In addition, there are also organizations like RELA and ICSC who have developed energy efficiency and sustainability programs in response to membership needs, as well as expanding recognition programs such as the Better Building and Energy Star program. Across the board, it's really safe to say that the demand is there and the time is right.
So some of you on the line today are already pretty familiar with IMT. If you're not, we're the Institute for Market Transformation. We've been around for 20 years. This is actually our 20th anniversary. And for us, our mission is all about what Audie just covered, right? Buildings, we're spending like $400 billion a year on utilities in our commercial buildings, and there are a lot of ways that we could be reducing that spend and saving a lot of money and doing some great things with it. And the Institute for Market Transformation is a nonprofit based here in DC, and that's really all we work on. Our goal is to improve the efficiency of the built space. We do that both through sort of policy mechanisms and market engagement program mechanisms. Obviously, Audie and I are on the market engagement side, so that's sort of near and dear to our heart. But what you see on this slide, the how we evoke change, I think is really important, and it's really what this program is about for us. We are a small organization, and so for us to go out and work with the market to affect market transformation means that we need to work with really awesome channel partners who get what we're trying to do, and we're really lucky to have channel partners like RELA and ICSC who understand this. We're also really lucky to have partners like the Department of Energy and EPA who are also creating their own really great programs. And so for us, the way we think about creating change is it's the sort of cycle of working with the market, understanding what the problems are, helping to identify solutions to those problems, creating resources that could help solve those problems, and then getting them out there and then seeing how the market responds. So for us, it's really the sort of constant iterative process of trying to create resources, get people to actually use them, find out if they're working and if they're moving the market in the right way towards a place where people are being more sustainable, saving energy in their buildings. And then when we get those best practices to work, we want to share them as broadly as possible and work with companies one-on-one to help them affect that change even closer. And when we have partners like RELA or Energy Star that are creating really awesome programs that we can point to as really successful spots to, jumping off points, or in the case of Energy Star, like a recognition thing that people can strive towards. So it really helps us move the market forward. So as Audie said, we've just hit this really awesome point where we've been working in this space for a while, and we saw a lot of great things coming together, and we thought this was the time to launch a program with our partners that would just focus on changing leased space. Again, if you're already familiar with us, then we might have already worked with you. Whether you're a city government, a utility, a property owner, a retailer, a corporate tenant, a broker, a real estate lawyer, trade association, we really like to partner with folks and think that that's the best way to move the market is by finding partners who are willing to try things out and then talk about what's working. And again, we've been really lucky over the last couple of years to work with some fantastic partners. The company's logos that you see up there, a lot of them are organizations that were recognized through the Green Leaf Leaders program that we work on with Department of Energy. Again, something that sort of feeds into this idea of there are ways to save energy in lease space. It's just going to take a commitment on part of both the landlord and the tenant but working together, they can do great things, and then they can get recognized by IMT or DOE or others.
Thank you, Adam. And just to echo that, because of our experience, we were able to create this tremendous coalition of NGOs, government agencies, and so forth. But also, we've developed an advisory group for this program that will provide strategic guidance to the partnership, as well as shape the direction of programmatic activities, and also provide actionable insight and market intelligence. Sorry about that. All right, so there are many areas where we can focus on, but primarily where we're going to be looking to focus a lot of our energy in are these 4 categories, where we're going to be developing tools to improve the tenant site selection process, introduce new standards for energy-aligned lease practices, promote widespread adoption of energy-efficient built-out standards and methods, as well as develop tools to engage and empower occupants to reduce energy consumption. As Adam said, we've been around for 20 years, and we've developed a lot of resources, and these are some of the few that you can find on IMT.org, as well as Greenleaf Library, and we will, of course, expand on these resources as this program develops. We've mentioned Energy Star quite a bit during the call so far, and I think it's you know, a lot has happened in the last year or so. If you haven't heard already, there was an Energy Efficiency Improvement Act that was released in 2015, and from that, there was something called Tenant Star, which is an expansion of Energy Star, where it really focuses on the tenant and providing an avenue for the tenant to show improvements, to track their efforts, and to be rewarded through the program. And what's great is that, oh, sorry, new computer. Here's your first opportunity, really, to, if you're a participant or not, anybody on the call, you have the opportunity to share your thoughts on the recognition program, because it is under review, and the deadline is as of next week, November 14th. So if you have an opportunity, please read through it and provide the feedback to the EPA on this program. We will certainly be looking to this program quite a bit as we continue to grow our program as well. Okay, so there's a lot on the slide, but essentially, you know, our objective.
Oh, you can't do a webinar with that technical problem. That's not possible.
Having a pop-up. All right, so the objective of the partnership is to transform the commercial space and create permanent tenant demand for energy efficiency. We want to invest in energy efficiency and do permanent reduction in consumption and really scale and sustain our efforts. The approach we will facilitate collaborative meetings between landlords and tenants, identify best practices and common barriers between the two groups, again, provide input to the federal recognition program, develop resources and pilot projects to solve those challenges, and work with participants to utilize and collect data. And you know, we strongly think that the takeaway here will be for tenants will have a strong set of proven tools and resources to help them advance their energy strategies.
Give just one example real quick of how that works. We put out a new resource not long ago, just a couple weeks ago, in collaboration with Rocky Mountain Institute. There's both a productivity calculator part, but there's also a really simple sort of RFP addendum that any tenant could use. That's really just a one-page addendum that a tenant should be using when they're searching for space, that asks, you know, the sort of starter questions about energy use and is the building benchmarking and are there recycling programs and all that good stuff. And so that's an example of the sort of tenant-focused resource that we want to put out there. We want people to use it, so it's on the IMT website. And if you can find it and use it, then we would love to get feedback. find out how well it's working for the market. If we need to tweak it, we'll tweak it, and then we want to pilot it again. And the goal is we can find more people to use it and pilot this and make it standard behavior. Then it's, one, easier for tenants to start the conversation early on in the lease process, and two, it helps landlords because there's clear demand coming from tenants at the very beginning. So this is the kind of resource that we think is going to be useful for this partnership, but at the same time we need people to use it or try it and let us know how it goes so that we can keep improving this thing and make it more useful over the next couple of years.
Thank you. So we understand that there may be additional stakeholders, but for the initial phase of this partnership, we consider these 5 to be the core stakeholders who can benefit from green lease education and outreach, incentive programs, new building codes, data sharing, and transparency, and participation in pilot opportunities. With that being said, though, we know that there are a lot of cities and utilities on the call, and we plan to intertwine these programs with cities, and we are in the process of trying to figure this out. So we would love to hear from you and get your thoughts on this. So in a snapshot, this is our 4-year plan, and essentially what this is telling you is that we've launched the program. We have our advisory group. We're looking to develop our website, which will house a lot of our resources that we have already. And this webinar is really the process in which we hope to recruit landlords and tenants to join the Landlord-Tenant Energy Partnership, and also identify first rounds of pilot programs and match appropriate participants with vendors for those pilots. So in the end, we really hope to engage with a whole handful of tenants, produce annual reports, assist participants in gaining recognition for their energy achievements through federal recognition programs, and publish a ton of incredible useful case studies that continue our efforts well beyond this program. And so why should you become a participant? Well, at no cost to participants, IMT will offer expert one-on-one guidance through implementation processes, really provide best-in-class resources, model lease language, and insight into what is happening between both the landlord and tenant and how we can develop innovative pilot projects and effective business models. And so what we ask of participants is all participants to sign a commitment letter stating that you will share your company's energy strategy, that you're actively pursuing or highly interested in metering and energy use transparency. You commit to participating in 4 conference calls a year. You will meet with a member from IMT for a one-on-one meeting to discuss short and long-term energy goals and objectives. Join at least 1 working group, participate in Energy Star recognition programs, and share project results generated from your participation in the partnership.
So also we know, like Audie mentioned earlier, not everybody on this webinar, not everybody that we talk to on a regular basis is either a landlord or a tenant, and we want to make sure that everybody is able to get involved, right? This is really important, and we know there's a lot of you out there, especially service providers, consulting firms, who have a lot of clients who would be great fits for this program. And one of the things that we're also working out, in addition to working out how we want to partner with city challenge programs or utility efficiency programs, we're also in the process of sort of working out how we want to partner with some of those service providers. So let us know. Feel free to email us if you're interested. We're working that out with a handful of companies right now. And I will also add that while IMT is always lucky to have some really great funding partners, this is a big project. This is something we're going to do for a couple of years. We are always happy to add more wonderful sponsors and funding partners. So we're also happy to talk about that. So this is a really big program. It's something that's difficult to run through in 20 minutes, but hopefully this gives you sort of a teaser idea of what we're going after. We've got wonderful partners. We've got a wonderful base to build off of. We've got a lot of, our advisory group is incredible with our friends at CBRE and Cushman & Wakefield and Tishman Speyer and some other firms. So we're off to a really great start, and we'd love to work with all of you to keep this driving, because we think that this is really the big lever that has not been pushed in real estate, and that this is the way forward if we're going to reach that next sort of big level of change in the market.
Thank you, Adam. And I cannot stress enough, what we're going to focus on in this partnership is really going to be driven by our partners through whether it's your sponsor, landlord, a tenant, and our advisory group. So it's really all hands on deck participation. So if there are any questions?
Box, open up. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, if you have any questions, again, the question box is in the bottom right.
Cool.
If there are no questions.
Yeah, so we tried to get through it real quick so we didn't take up too much of everybody's afternoon. The important thing is you email energypartnership@imt.org. Go to the website, imt.org, or Landlord-Tenant Energy Partnership.com. .org. All right. And if you're not already planning to go to Retail Green and you have anything to do with retail, you should come to Retail Green, because we'll all be there, all four of us, Audie, Aaron, Abby, and I, just talking about this all the time. It's going to be great. We'll probably talk about some other things there too, but mostly this. So it is a great conference, and there are many, many worse places you could be than Phoenix immediately after Thanksgiving.
And with that, thank you very much for attending.
Cool. Everybody have a good afternoon.